Hey guys, this is Tyler from Auto Magic. Today we're going to be reviewing our headlight restoration kit, our 12 vehicle kit, and our single vehicle kit. We're going to go over what's in it, what makes our headlight process different and more durable than others, and actually go through an application. We're trying to get all this information to you so that we can get ready for daylight savings time as it gets a little darker earlier and stays a little darker later every morning and every night. And you guys can help your customers get a quality headlight repair. So first, let's go through. We're going to focus on the 12 car headlight kit. Everything that we talk about here is going to give you everything you need to do a minimum of 12 vehicles. And we're going to go through the entire process to make sure we can get you that 3-year guarantee for your customers out of our headlight sealant. So to begin, you're going to end up with masking tape, 12 bottles of our headlight sealant, applicator pads for all of the jobs, and trays, our lens dryer. You're going to end up with a sanding block, 600 grit sanding paper, 1500 grit sanding paper. I've just pulled out enough here to work on the vehicle I'm working on right now, and gloves for when you're applying the resin. In addition to that, you're going to need microfiber towels and just a simple bottle of water for your wet sanding process. We'll start with this vehicle. My first thing that I always like to do when I'm doing a vehicle is open up the hood. This is going to help speed along the process as it eliminates sections of the headlight that needs to be taped up. This vehicle has a very small section that we've got to save some time. A lot of vehicles, you may save the entire top half of it. So let's start off by taping it up. I'll be right back with you in a second. All set with the masking tape. What you can do and see is we've protected all the painted surfaces for our sanding process. From there, our next step is going to be grabbing our 600 grit sandpaper, our sanding block, and our water. We're going to begin by sanding off the original film that's on these headlights, which is everything that's turned yellow. The goal when we finish our 600 grit process is to have no yellow film or residue left on the headlight fixture. Once you believe you've sanded all of the original headlight film that's failed, you're just going to wipe it up with microfiber and give it a nice inspection. You want to see a uniform 600 grit sanding mark and make sure you've removed any yellowing. At this point, if you do notice anywhere that you feel could use a little bit more work, feel free to just simply wet the surface again and do a little bit more sanding. Perfect. When you're happy with your results from your 600 grit sanding, move over to your 1500 grit paper, again with your sanding block, and we're going to do this process also wet. The goal of our 15 grit sanding process is to remove the 600 grit sanding marks, get a nice, fine, uniform 1500 grit surface that our resin and sealant will be able to bond into in order to give it its life expectancy of at least 3 years. Give it a nice wipe down again and inspect for a uniform finish. Once you believe you're happy with it, you're going to grab your lens dryer and a second clean microfiber and apply the lens dryer. What this is going to do is help us remove any imperfections or any contaminants that may have been left over from the sanding process and any moisture from the fact that we did a wet sanding process. At this point, it's always great to do a final inspection, always checking your outside edges of your lens. And we want to make sure we leave the lens in a 1500 grit sanding situation rather than finishing it with a compound or a polish. By finishing with a compound or a polish, we've refined the lens so much that our headlight sealant's not actually going to be able to bond and grab onto the surface the way that it's supposed to. That very frequently is the #1 causing issue for headlight restoration projects to not actually last as long as the professional intends them to last. So at this point, this headlight's ready to go. We're going to grab our gloves provided in the kit. We're gonna grab our applicator pad and our tray. Open up our headlight sealant. And we're just gonna pour, not the whole bottle, but a good amount of the sealant into the bottom of the tray. Then gonna seal up headlight sealant. And just take the corner of our applicator like this. Now this headlight's pretty large, so we're gonna get some extra, and we will have to refill our tray for a headlight this size, but I wanted to show you for a standard vehicle what you should expect to do. At that point, I like to start in one edge and pull it all the way across. Working section by section. We do not want to put the entire bottle's content into the tray, as if it was in a situation where it was in contact with UV rays, it would actually begin setting even in the tray. You'll notice we're applying this coating onto the headlight in a sealed garage away from UV light. Again, always focusing on just the corner of the applicator. At this point, do a final inspection of your application, making sure you've covered all areas, edge to edge. Properly seal your bottle for your next area of application. We're gonna set a timer for 60 seconds. It's very important to actually set a timer rather than just trying to tell yourself you're gonna wait a minute, as it's crazy how long a minute can feel when you're actually waiting for something to happen. So we're gonna give this headlight 60 seconds to self-level the headlight sealant before we take it and expose it to UV light. At this point of the process, I'll begin removing the tape, making sure to stay away from the lens. At this point, we're gonna pull the vehicle out and let it sit in the sunlight for 3 minutes. If we're on a rainy day, we can use a UV light. Otherwise, on a day like this where it's beautiful outside, I'm simply gonna pull it out to the parking lot and allow the customer to drive away in 3 to 5 minutes. Here we go, so that's our 3-minute cure time. At this point, we're gonna do a final inspection. This is our last final inspection. We wanna make sure we've got a nice, even coat around everything. We don't see any runs in it. If we have any imperfections, at this point, I'd let it sit for about 2 more minutes, and we could sand any of those imperfections off and reapply the exact same way we did. So it will be much harder to remove if you have any imperfections, but otherwise this is a quick, simple product to use in order to get a nice factory-like refinish on headlights. And as long as you go through the exact process that we just showed you, you're going to be having a 3-year guarantee from us here at AutoMagic. Thanks, have a great one. Best of luck helping your customers get ready for the daylight savings time.